Going through a menopausal phase? Don't joke around. Menopause is for women who've worked too hard after childbirth, right? It doesn't concern useless infertile women like you who didn't even bear any children.
It's frustrating, but I don't even feel like arguing. I have a terrible headache. Are we done talking? I want to go to the hospital quickly.
What's with that attitude? Do you even realize your place? It's okay to divorce someone useless like you.
My thoughts momentarily froze. What did this person just say? Divorce? Divorce, you say? I refuse to continue living in this house, breaking down physically and mentally like this. If he doesn't understand his place, he better figure it out. My name is Abigail, and I'm a 51-year-old part-time housewife. I work in the deli section at the supermarket. Standing for long hours, I suffer from back and shoulder pain every day. My husband is an office worker, and we don't have children. Lately, my main concern is that I get tired easily. Well, it's natural. I've crossed the menopausal age. I have trouble falling asleep, and my body easily gets cold. My hair and skin feel dry, and I suddenly feel like I've aged. I realize that continuing with my usual lifestyle isn't working. Even though I try to pay attention to my diet for my health and walk around the house, I don't feel much improvement. Today, when I returned from my part-time job and sat on the sofa, I couldn't get up. There are many things to do, like preparing dinner and cleaning the bathroom, but my body feels heavy. Not only can I not get up, but my upper body also feels drawn to the sofa. It's no use. Let me just lie down for a bit. I don't have the physical strength to get up, nor the mental energy to even try. Just a little bit.
Hey, Abigail, what are you doing?
I woke up to my husband's voice. I haven't been able to sleep well at night, so I ended up dozing off. Oh, welcome home.
Sleeping without preparing dinner? How privileged you are.
Was I really sleeping that much? I hurriedly got up and checked the clock. It seems like I slept for about 15 minutes. I'm sorry. Lately I've been feeling sluggish.
I don't want to hear excuses.
Alright, I'll get ready right away. It felt like it was just a brief nap, but I didn't mention it. I try not to argue back because my husband persistently complains about things he doesn't like and even brings up past issues, which is bothersome, so I avoid responding.
What's for dinner today?
Fish. You're a fan of the sweet vinegar sauce, aren't you?
Huh?
My husband makes a displeased face.
Today it's meat. Just meat.
But we had meat yesterday too, and you were the one eating out.
Shut up. When I say it's meat.
I sighed, even though I bought fresh fish with care. Well, at least I haven't cooked it yet. My husband is so stubborn about his opinions. Honestly, his selfishness is just exasperating. Maybe things would have been different if we had children. But it's pointless to dwell on that now. Dragging my heavy body, I made my way to the kitchen and start preparing dinner. Looking back, where did I go wrong? Even after several years of marriage, we still couldn't have children. When I mentioned considering infertility treatment to my husband,
Hospital? I'm not going. It's your fault, so go by yourself.
It's not certain that the problem lies with me.
So it's my fault then?
I'm not saying that. It's not about who's at fault.
Don't mess around. It's obviously your fault.
Ugh, it's pointless to argue. I mentioned that infertility treatments might be expensive now that insurance doesn't cover them like it used to.
Huh? That's a waste of money. Figure it out yourself.
Without his cooperation, I had no choice but to give up on treatment. I couldn't tolerate my husband's tone and attitude. Sometimes I'd raise my voice. Stop talking like that all the time. He would brazenly respond.
It can't be helped, you know, I'm a Texas boy.
What kind of excuse is that? There's no special rule that only applies to Texas. His behavior isn't about being manly, it's about being self-centered. I wish he'd apologize like a kind Texan boy. Adding to the difficulty, my in-laws from Texas would call, pressuring us to have a grandchild and heir. They'd say things like, "Children are adorable," or,
"Nothing compares to having your own child."
"I want one too." So I'm making efforts like being careful with meals and timing, but my husband isn't willing to cooperate. Nevertheless, I worked hard, hoping that if we had a child, my husband's attitude would change. However, as I was left with unfinished meals and rejected when inviting him at night, I began to feel empty and desperate. I've decided to give up. This person probably won't change. There's no way a husband who does no housework will help with childcare. If I were to expect and then be betrayed, it would be shocking. And above all, it would be unfortunate for the child. Surely as my husband ages, his character will soften, and we should be able to live peacefully together as a couple. That wouldn't be so bad, would it? That's what I told myself. But what's the reality? No matter how old he gets, he never softens. Instead, he continues to sharpen his tyrannical behavior. My husband always wants to look down on me and feel superior. When I hear my part-time colleagues talk about how their husbands go for walks with them or occasionally cook for them, I feel so envious that I let out a sigh. Is it my fault for indulging in such thoughts? Is it too late already? While thinking about such things, dinner was prepared. I am mindful of preparing a healthy menu for my husband, whose belly has been getting bigger.
"The portion is small. The taste is bland. Completely."
He complains like this while eating, but in the end he finishes everything. I can't be bothered to deal with him every time. My body and head feel heavy. The next day, during break time at work, when I consulted with a colleague about my health issues, she casually said, "It must be menopause." Her name is Sarah, a colleague from the same deli section. She's older than me, but she's easy to talk to and very caring. I went through a tough time too. You did too, Sarah? I felt physically and emotionally unstable, like I wasn't myself. It was tough. Are you okay now? I'm fine. Maybe you're at the peak now, Abigail. It seems there are individual differences in menopausal symptoms. The severity of the discomfort also varies for each person. I went to the hospital and got medication, and I felt better. I hesitated about whether it was okay to go to the hospital for such a thing, but I received encouragement. I'm glad I consulted her. I feel like a weight has been lifted off my shoulders. The next day, while I was getting ready to go out, my husband asked with a suspicious look on his face,
"Hey, are you going somewhere?"
"Yes, to the hospital."
"Hospital? What about work?"
I took a day off today.
"What?"
My husband had an unpleasant expression, but a colleague advised me not to worry about work and to go to the hospital quickly. Yesterday I couldn't sleep at all, had a headache, and looked terrible. My body is at its limit. Seems like menopause. Maybe I'll get better with medication. My husband responded.
"Menopause? Don't be so spoiled."
Huh? Not being spoiled?
What? It is being spoiled. It's just your imagination.
My husband's voice echoed in my head and the headache worsened.
Basically, menopause happens to women who have worked too hard after childbirth, right? It doesn't concern a useless infertile woman like you who didn't even have children.
I want to tell him that he's the one who's delusional, but I don't even feel like arguing. I want to go to the hospital quickly. Can I go now?
Huh? What's with that attitude?
I'm sorry, but my head hurts, so I want to go to the hospital quickly.
You're talking out of your ass. Don't you understand your position?
But...
Are you talking back? It's okay to divorce someone useless like you.
My thoughts stopped for a moment, and I couldn't find the words to respond. What did he just say? Divorce? He mentioned divorce? Understood, I'll get a divorce.
What did you say?
So let's get a divorce. I took out the divorce papers from the drawer. I had prepared them just in case. My husband seemed somewhat surprised. Please, Fill it out.
Are you really sure about this?
I will handle the submission.
Of course, I won't pay any compensation. Once we divorce, don't ever bother me again, got it?
Yes, understood.
Alright, as divorce. Disappear. I'll be free for the rest of my life.
I didn't expect kind words. I didn't even want him to worry. But being called useless of all things? What am I? Just a convenient housemaid? I refuse to live in this house, destroying my body and mind. If he doesn't understand his place, he better figure it out. After finishing the divorce papers, my husband said,
Don't you dare say you've changed your mind. Apologies are pointless.
With that, he yelled and went off to work. I packed the essentials, clothes, cosmetics, and valuables into my carry-on case and left the house. My husband of 30 years, and this house can be easily discarded if I am prepared to do so. With determination, I headed to the hospital as planned and received care from the women's clinic. Thanks to my colleague's introduction, I was able to consult with a good doctor. I knew there was no miracle cure for menopausal symptoms. First, I was prescribed lifestyle improvements and herbal medicine. I felt a little relieved. Now, what should I do next? First, I need to figure out where to sleep tonight. Once I felt reassured, I realized I was hungry. I don't need to prioritize my husband and decide on a menu anymore. I don't need to do housework while watching my husband's mood when I return home. At that moment, my colleague called me on the phone. Hello? Hello, Abigail? How's the hospital I recommended? It was really good. They prescribed me some medicine too. Thank you for giving me the day off. Don't worry about it. By the way, I divorced and left home. Huh? She was surprised when she heard, but quickly understood the situation. Good job, you did great. Upon hearing that, I felt like crying. If you haven't decided where to stay yet, you can come to my house. It may be crowded with my son and his wife. She invited me. Thank you, but I'll be fine. Really? If anything happens, or even if nothing does, come anytime. I'll be waiting. Having such a kind colleague, I felt blessed. Let's just appreciate the sentiment. Actually, there's something I've wanted to do for a long time. For 30 years since marriage, I've been cooking meals for my husband, who can't do any household chores at all. So something that I've never been able to do, not even once. That's dining out alone. I checked into the business hotel I had in mind. I bought a bag full of groceries at the convenience store for dinner. I indulged myself extravagantly, assembling a full-course feast with a sandwich, salad, sweets, and even beer. For me, it was an outrageous extravagance. I was able to stretch my legs and relax in a large bathroom. My husband dislikes traveling, so it was difficult for us to bathe anywhere other than at home. I was lying on my beautiful bed made by someone who wasn't me when I received a series of messages from my husband.
You'll regret it.
If you're going to apologize, do it quickly.
Someone like you can't live alone.
Upon seeing the messages, I laughed out loud. I'm sure you're happy that useless person is gone as you wished. I didn't respond and set his emails and calls to block. It feels like I've gotten back at him. I feel like I'll be able to sleep comfortably after a long time. I think the medication played a part, but I was able to sleep peacefully without being awakened by snoring. The next day, things got busy. Now that my physical and mental strength have returned, I first used the savings I have been putting away each month for retirement to rent an apartment. I make contracts in my own name and buy things I choose. It's a small apartment, but it's a place where no one complains. My heart swells with excitement for the new life. Of course, I'm continuing to work as well. I thought you were a different person, Abigail, my colleague remarked in surprise. You look younger. You seem so lively. Did you change medication? That's part of it, but I'm also living separately from my husband and feeling alive. I should have done this sooner. I was enjoying every day. It might sound heartless, but I hardly thought about my ex-husband. About a month had passed and I had started to get used to apartment living. As I was finishing work and about to head home, a disheveled man approached me. Suspicious, I realized it was my ex-husband.
Long time no see, Abigail.
You? What's wrong? Ugh! The smell of alcohol and stale laundry and the overpowering odor of aging. I involuntarily step back.
You're still as stubborn as ever.
Huh?
I figured you'd realize my value sooner or later, so I came to fetch ya.
My ex-husband acting all high and mighty, wearing a sloppy shirt with stains on it. Unclean and repulsive. You came to fetch me? Who does he think he is? You've never done anything at home before, so now you're struggling to make ends meet, right? If that's the case, you should be kneeling down begging please come back. Even if you did, I wouldn't return. Hey, what have you been eating lately? I asked because his complexion looks terribly bad.
I work hard, you know. I need to get some nutrition, so I'm having steak, ramen, and curry.
I knew it. Even though his liver isn't in good shape and his blood pressure needs attention, it seems like he eats whatever he wants without paying attention to a balanced nutrition and his salt intake.
I'm tired of eating out and wasting money, and I don't mind eating your bland meals.
You're an adult, so manage it yourself.
Huh? What did you just say?
Oh, nothing at all.
Your poor management caused the washing machine to clog, making it unusable for laundry, and the eggs exploded in the microwave. If you don't take responsibility, it'll be a problem.
I don't understand what you're saying. It's definitely not my fault. I'm getting dizzy.
You seem to have gotten better, so you can live with me again.
No, thank you.
What?
I'm useless, right?
Huh?
For you, marriage has no value unless the spouse is useful, right? It's better for you to be with a helpful woman.
No way. Abigail, you...
I responded with a cold look. Did you think I didn't know anything? Why didn't you think about why the divorce papers were already prepared? I knew about a year ago that my husband was frequently emailing a female coworker. Under the pretext of overtime, they occasionally met, and I gradually collected evidence.
I'm not the bad guy here. I was egged on to get a divorce. And then, that woman quit her job and married someone else.
Ex-husband looks at me with pleading eyes. Does he really think he'll make a comeback? I'll get my lawyer to claim damages for his infidelity.
I told you I'm not paying any damages.
Oh well, I guess I'll just claim extra from the other party.
Ooh, wait, that's...
I'm sorry you couldn't find a replacement housekeeper.
I didn't mean it that way.
Well, I think I'm done. I'm going out to eat with friends now.
Huh? What about my dinner?
My ex-husband looks at me with a puzzled expression. Honestly, he has no idea what he's saying. Since we're divorced, you should take care of yourself.
What are you saying? Let's just get married again.
Don't say such selfish things.
Shut up. Despite what I'm saying and doing, what's with your attitude?
Well, you see, I won't play second fiddle anymore. You're just a stranger to me now. Regardless of what's said, I won't be swayed. I don't need to associate with him anymore. My ex-husband tries desperately to talk me out of it.
I'm saying I'm willing to live together again, you know? Are you planning to leave me alone despite the fact that we have no children because of you?
Well, about that, I truly think it's for the best from the bottom of my heart.
Huh?
Things I don't want my children to see.
What?
A father who belittles their mother and sends flirty messages to his mistress with a smirk. Upon hearing that, my ex-husband's face turned red with anger.
Don't mess with me, infertile woman.
Looking at me with a cold gaze, I said, whether it was me or you who was the cause of infertility doesn't matter anymore. I'm glad we didn't have children together.
What?
At that moment, a boy ran up to me.
Abigail, everyone's already gathered.
Oh, really? Let's go then.
Who is this? This old man?
Well, just someone else?
Hey, you're playing around with such a young guy too.
My ex-husband says such a thing with a trembling voice, so I couldn't help but burst into laughter. What are you saying? He's just a part-time college student. I wonder if it would have been like this if I had a son. Today we're having a house party at my colleague Sarah's place. Since she invited us to come over quickly, I thought it would be nice to go with everyone from work. My husband never allowed gatherings like this, so I'm really looking forward to it. Let's go quickly.
Hey, don't leave me behind.
I glanced at my ex-husband and smiled. If you still have something to say, can you please go through the lawyer? Goodbye. Without looking back, I started walking. Rumor has it that my ex-husband caused some trouble and had to rely on the fire department. It seems he caused the fire by overcooking bread in the toaster oven. He made a big fuss blaming the expanding bread for catching fire. He's a frustrating person who was probably not paying attention. Afterwards, the electricity was cut off because he forgot to pay the bill. He called the police demanding action, but ended up being scolded instead. Forgetting the garbage collection day multiple times, the trash piled up in front of the entrance, attracting crows. Getting frustrated, he waved a pole to chase away the crows, only to be reported to the police for being mentally unstable. He's really good at causing trouble for others, despite being unable to do anything else. He's a troublesome person. Although I've blocked his calls, apparently he's been lurking around my workplace a few times. Thankfully, my colleagues informed me so I could use a different exit to go home. I don't know how long he waited. He's persistent. After about 3 months, it seems my ex-husband, having given up on everything, decided to return to his parents' home in Texas and rely on them. It's not to take care of his elderly parents, but apparently it's for them to take care of him, a 50-year-old son unable to do anything. He's a nuisance. Well, as my in-laws once said, having children gives life value, apparently. So no matter how old you get or how foolish you become, I guess it'll be fine. I wouldn't know though, since I don't have children. Until now, I've been numb, thinking that way, but it seems I was too tied down by my husband. Living a life where I don't have to take care of my selfish husband is fulfilling. I've started attending yoga and sports classes because I have so much free time. They say it's good for the autonomic nervous system, especially during menopause. My diet seems to be going well too. If I succeed, I'll attend the alumni reunion that my husband always said no to. I'm looking forward to it. Menopausal symptoms can be tough on some days and easy on others. On days when I just can't move, I'll take a break. On days when I feel down, I'll try again tomorrow. I've come to accept that. I have to take care of my body. If you push yourself too hard, it will only come back to you. Well, let's live a healthy life, both mentally and physically, from now on.